Hi, I'm Myra Powers, and today I'm excited to be here with you to share some ideas on inspiring leadership in others. This is a topic that I'm personally very passionate about because it's been through doTERRA that I've been able to develop my own leadership skills. I want to open up by sharing this quote. Imagine a future that is better than the present and then make it happen. To me, that is what inspiration is all about. It's about possibilities. It's about us believing the possibilities for ourselves and about helping other people see the possibilities in their own future. But before we jump to the future, I want to take you to the past. Think about when you started your journey with doTERRA, whether that was as a client when you opened your first oil or the day that you decided to share. Think about how far you've come already. Take a minute to celebrate that. And if you're anything like me, it hasn't just been a joyful journey. There's probably been some bumps and obstacles in the road. doTERRA for me has been like a magnifying glass on all those not so great traits that I would have probably preferred to left hidden. But as my self-awareness has grown, so has my love for others and my desire to serve. And at the same time, my impact and influence on my community and my team has grown. So today I'm going to share with you 5 key elements that you can look at, that you can measure, that you can value, that you can assess to help you in your own journey, because doTERRA is all about personal development and growth. And if you want to inspire leadership in others, you need to start by inspiring yourself. You need to become inspirational. You need to be someone that you would follow. Because we only have a short amount of time together, I'm going to share with you some additional reading resources that you can look at to dig into each of these 5 elements in detail. But before we go into that, I want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. We fortunately have Elise Shedevy and her Back to Basics program. If you haven't joined her daily mentor calls already, I invite you to do so today. You can find them at dailymentorcalls.com. Calls number 3 and number 43 are going to be specifically useful for what we're looking at today. We're going to set ourselves up for success by surrounding ourselves with the right people, people that want to do this business, people that are capable and committed. Specifically, there are 7 key attributes that she has identified are common across people that are successful in doTERRA. So as you look to share oils with the people, as you look around you and see who you want to share these oils with, I invite you to make sure that you're talking and focusing on people that share at least 5 of these characteristics. The most important of all is that these are people that want what you want, that share your vision, and that are capable of achieving it and committed. So now that we've talked about knowing where we're going, looking towards the future, seeing the possibilities, and surrounding ourselves with the right people, let's jump into it. The 5 elements of leadership are service, vision, communication, focus, and perseverance. It all starts with service. I'm going to be asking you a question to ponder on each of these elements. For service, it's this: who are you meant to serve, and what are their goals and needs? We all come to this life with a purpose. Each of us has a calling. And once we discover that calling, that's when we can find true joy. And service is the way that we achieve that joy. When we know who we're meant to serve and what specifically their needs are, we can fulfill our mission. So, who are you meant to serve? Is it children with special needs? Is it athletes? Is it single moms? Who is it? Once you've identified who you're meant to serve, you want to also help them identify their purpose if these are your leaders that you're meant to serve. It's not so easy. If you've been struggling with figuring out your own purpose, it's helpful to have a friend to talk to. And so this is where you can come and serve them, not only serving them with the oils, but serving them by helping them identify their own calling and purpose. The most important thing to remember as you're talking with your people is to always do your job and do your service with a smile. Happiness attracts happiness. And so as you are going through life and people see that you're healthy and you're happy and you're joyful, they're going to want to join you in your mission and your cause. Which brings me to the next element, vision. What future result would make you look back and feel fulfilled about what you have done with your life? Vision is rooted in service to others. It's not about rank. It's not about income. Vision is about having an idea in your mind about the impact that you want to have. How many people do you want to serve? It needs to be bold. It needs to be big. It needs to be grand. It needs to make you excited and nervous all at the same time. Is it 500 people? Is it 5,000 people? Is it 10,000 people? That is a vision. A simple example is this. I'm in my kitchen right now. If I want to go and grab a glass of water, I think about it, I visualize it, I go, I grab it. My body follows my thoughts. It's the same way with vision. If you can see it in your mind, your body, and therefore your actions will follow. I am a huge fan of vision boards. If you don't have one, I invite you to create one today. Vision boards are going to help crystallize that picture in your mind and make all these things possible. So remember, look through the lens of possibility. If you're working with someone and helping them with their vision and they can't see it, help them by painting a story, painting a picture with stories. For example, you can say, imagine that, fill in the blank. Imagine that you're teaching a class with 10 people and that class goes great. So you want to initiate it with that, but eventually the best way to help people see the vision is for them to create their own picture. Invite your leaders, therefore, to partner with you and become a part of something bigger. As humans, we long to belong. We want to be something bigger than ourselves. We want to be a part of something bigger. And so this is people's opportunity to join you in the great cause of serving others, something that they're passionate about. We also want to make sure that we're acknowledging their potential and sharing our vision, because sometimes people have a hard time seeing the potential within themselves, but you can see it. And as you're looking at this potential in other people, make sure that you're expressing that and getting them excited about it. Finally, as I said, make sure that you measure your success not on your own achievement, but on your desire to serve others. So we know that we're serving. We've talked about our vision. Now it's time to turn to communication. Are we talking at others or are we connecting? There's a difference. Bilateral communication is what's key here. Communication is best achieved through questions. We want to have thought-provoking questions and open questions that help people see the possibilities in themselves, that help people just bridge into that realm of imagination. If this is something that is not naturally in your skill set, I invite you to look at the book, The Coaching Habit. It has some wonderful thought-provoking questions in there. So as we ask these questions, we are able to uncover people's blocks and therefore help them overcome them. We're also able to crystallize the focus. When you're asking questions, the most important thing of all, remember, is to sit back and simply listen. When we listen, when we create that space, people will run. And when it becomes their idea instead of our idea, it'll amaze you the things that are going to be possible. Not only do we want to be asking thought-provoking questions, though, we also want to be asking problem-solving questions. In this business, there will be roadblocks, there will be issues. When those issues come, it's not our job to solve them for people. Serving does not mean that we're a doormat. Our job is to help them become problem solvers, and we do that by asking them problem-solving questions. As you help your leaders grow in their own leadership, they will in turn help their own leaders, and that's how we all grow together. So remember, when you're in conversations with your people, the communication is important, that it's authentic, that it's open-minded, and that it's positive. You want your people to feel like they're safe. You want them to be able to trust you, both with their dreams and their vision, but also with their struggles. So we've talked about how it's important to have our vision, know who we're serving, know how big our impact we want to have, how we're going to communicate it with our team, how we're going to understand their needs through open communication and questions. Now we're going to turn to focus. Take all of these elements and understand what your priorities are. So my question for you is this: are you managing your time right now, or are you managing your priorities? Do you realize the difference? If you're managing your time, you probably always feel that you're racing against the clock. However, if you're managing your priorities, you know that if you get your 2 or 3 things done during the day, you're done and you feel great and you feel satisfied and you feel like you've accomplished. I invite you to become priority managers. This is something that you can do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and on an annual basis. I was at a presentation recently when someone said something that really struck me. He said, in a given year, there's only 2 or 3 really big things that you'll accomplish that will make the difference for that year. It's that same thing with every single day. What are the 2 or 3 things that are key for you to do today to be able to help you move forward? So in order to be able to manage your priorities, we do need to have time allocated. For this, I invite you to listen to Alicia Debbie's weekly success schedule call, which is call number 46 on the Daily Mentor call that I mentioned earlier. I also invite you to find accountability partners, people that have the same goals and dreams that you do, people that you can share your accomplishments with, you can share your vision with, and that can inspire you, and that you can inspire them as well. You can share your struggles. It is so much more fun to do this job when you've got someone else that's doing it with you that has the same goals. You'll keep each other moving forward, and it's simply more enjoyable. Finally, I want to encourage you to leverage your strengths. Know what your strengths are, know what your team's strengths are, and focus on them. Encourage everyone to focus on their strengths. When you're working from the place of your strengths, work doesn't feel like work. It's enjoyable. It comes easy to you. And therefore, the team's output becomes more synergistic. Everyone's happier because they're enjoying what they're doing. Finally, we know who we're serving. We know how many people we want to impact. We've communicated our vision. We know what we're focusing on. We've got our priorities straight. What do we do when things don't go according to plan? If there's one thing that I can guarantee you in your time with doTERRA is that you will have obstacles come up. It's a given. So what do you do? What's your plan? What I do is I like to cultivate positive thoughts. For me, that comes in the form of prayer, daily prayer. For you, it could be meditation, it could be journaling. I invite you to find your well of positivity and make sure that you constantly fill it up so that you can draw from it when you need it, so that you can minimize the impacts of negativity on you. I also invite you to embrace failure. I want to share with you an experience that might shock you. When I first started with doTERRA, I made my 100-person list, like most of you have, or if you haven't already, you should. And 50 of those people were in my hometown. So I drove down to my hometown and I asked my sister to host some classes. I taught for 3 days straight. I had 8 classes total with 50 people. I had such a great time. They had a great time. I did what I loved. I taught. And at the end of that, not one single person enrolled. I drove back home, and that 6-hour drive, I felt shame. I felt like a failure. It was horrible. So I came home and felt sorry for myself for about a day. And then I revisited my vision. I revisited my why. And I knew that I wanted those people to have the joy and the blessings that come with these oils. And I knew that there was something that I had done wrong that I had to fix. And so I focused on my mistakes. I figured out how to fix them. I learned and I changed my approach. I changed my strategy. Fortunately for you, you don't have to go through that because we have the daily mentor calls and we have a very clear system we need to follow. I didn't have that 6 years ago. But even now, there's still going to be struggles that you have. So when you have those struggles, I invite you to look within, refine your passion, refine your vision, revisit your why, talk to your accountability partners, and figure out what the lesson that needs to be learned is. Figure out a way through it, above it, around it, get it done, but always keep moving forward. This business is so worth it. Take ownership of your success and you will be successful. In closing, mindset is key. And so I invite you to think about this final question with me. Sometimes the most influential thing that we can do is listen. If you can help make a great idea someone else's and not yours, you will be amazed at the things that they can accomplish. Sometimes all we have to do is plant that seed, ask that question, sit back and listen. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you can implement these 5 elements of success to grow your influence in your teams. And I hope that you gain all the success that you're seeking for in your journey with doTERRA. Thank you so much.